Wow. So many people. It's so lovely to see all of you here. It makes me really happy and inspired. I'm looking forward to spending the next 9 days with you. And I hope you're also looking forward to spending these 9 days with each other. I know some of you have just arrived and you've just had a talk by the retreat manager, so I want to start this retreat by spending some minutes in silence together. Just enjoy being here together in this beautiful hall. And after that, I'll give a little talk. So just spend some minutes in silence together. without the air conditioning it's even more silent. And I'm going to start with an apology. During this retreat I will be the one who is going to talk the most and destroy this beautiful silence. Silence is something I place a lot of trust in. People often ask me, why did you become a monk? And I don't have one clear answer for that. But when I was a lay person, I watched this documentary called Into Great Silence. Has any of you ever seen that? No? Nobody? Maybe it's only famous in Europe, but it's like a 3-hour documentary following these Christian Carthusian monks, and no word is spoken in the entire documentary, but it's so enticing, so enthralling. You see them going through their routine and eating, and wow, that was really inspiring to me. And we will be like Carthusian monks during these 9 days. We go into great silence. And that starts with our speech being the vow of silence. As Buddhist monks, we are not allowed to take a vow of silence for a long time, but for a while we can do it. And you've also taken a vow of silence for this retreat. We're not going to speak unless necessary. And maybe you work in the kitchen, then you need to speak a little bit with each other. That's okay. But aside from that sort of speaking which is necessary, it's beautiful, isn't it? The silence. And when I say go into great silence, I mean something really deep. It starts with the external silence, when we're not speaking to each other and just enjoying being here. From that, our mind can get quiet as well. It becomes silent within. The thoughts that create so much noise in your head. If you trust silence, those thoughts can settle. And there's nothing going on inside your head. Maybe between the words that I'm saying, there's nothing going on. And that is where you find real deep peace. And if you go even deeper into that silence of the mind, you really hone into it, then the external world becomes completely silent. It disappears. Your external senses settle down, and you're just settled with the silence in the mind. If you go even more quiet, then the meditation becomes really deep. And if you go to the quietest place of all, that is what we call nirvana. But I don't want to start this retreat by talking about nirvana. This is supposed to be the welcome talk and not the ending talk. But that can be a theme of contemplation. Silence. Yeah. I've had some of my deepest meditation just by focusing on the silence in the mind. And in that place of silence, that's where you find some real profound things, which I hope some of you will get a taste of. I hope all of you will get a taste of that silence. And maybe you already did, because many of you I recognize, and I know are long-term meditators. Some people even probably been meditating longer than me, so they know very well what I'm talking about here. Others might be newcomers, so they are just taking their first little tippy toes into silence, maybe. But maybe raise your hand if you are new to meditation. Some new to meditation, okay. And then we will not dive into the silence straight away. And for also people who is this is their first retreat. Come to a 9-day retreat straight away. That's very wise, I think. But this is also my first 9-day retreat as a teacher. So we will see how that goes. This is Venerable Dhammadipa here. And earlier we were talking about that I was going to teach a retreat. And I told him 9 days talking about meditation. What is there to say? There's nothing really much to say, really. Especially when you focus on silence. But I'll do my best to teach you some different ways of meditating. I will not just only say focus on the silence. But that is maybe more starting tomorrow. Today is the opening talk, so I want to focus a little bit more on how the retreat is run and what you can expect and what I expect from you and what we might do during this retreat. I already mentioned the vow of silence, so that is one of the things that you're asked to do during this retreat, is to share the silence together. Yeah? It's really a gift to other people to be together, harmonious, but without having to talk. This is something really special. Normally people come together, when I go to my family we come together and it's a lot of talking, and I suppose it's the same with your family. But we are here, a different kind of family. We are here together and we share silence together. That is the most important of the so-called precepts that we will be keeping during this retreat. I don't know if the retreat manager, Katrin, she's sitting in the back there, if she mentioned the 8 precepts. Did you? Okay, so during a Buddhist retreat, it is... oh, by the way, the vow of silence does not include coughing and sneezing. That's okay. Yeah. If you feel like you need to cough during meditation or whatever, during a talk, don't keep it in, because you know if you keep it in, it just turns into a tornado at the end. It's only going to be louder, so that's okay. But anyway, the 8 precepts during Buddhist retreat, it's standard that we keep 8 precepts. And anybody does not know what they are? You've all heard of them? Or at least you roughly know, yeah. You probably, if I ask you to, oh yeah, you know them, mention all 8 of them, then you might be, but roughly you know what they are. So some of them, I hope, are pretty easy to keep during retreat. No killing of living beings, no stealing, no lying, and so forth. But we take them further than that as well. No killing living beings is only one side of the precept. The negative side, as it were, what you should not do. But when the Buddha explained these precepts, he also said, be kind and compassionate towards living beings. So we also become kind and compassionate. It takes practice, but to each other as well. We share this place together, and maybe you are in the cottage where your neighbor happens to be the one who makes all the noise. Be kind. Yeah. They're here with good intentions. They didn't come here on this retreat. On retreat I'm gonna just disturb my neighbors. That's what I'm gonna do. No, everybody of you, I'm sure, came with such beautiful intentions, and that's why when I walked in here I had this beautiful smile on my face straight away, because all these people here, they're very crème de la crème of people. Yeah? They are the best, the top notch of people, because they also recognize something about this silence, this meditating, this wanting to be a better person in the world. Anyway, I'm drifting off a bit. So that is, don't just look at the precepts as a negative thing, like what you should not do. It also has things you should do, like not stealing. What is the opposite? Being generous. We share things together. We share this space together, and we share the kitchen and so forth together. So also we keep it nice and clean for each other. Those sorts of things. And other precepts: killing, stealing, not lying. Well, yeah, it's easy not to lie when you keep a vow of silence, I hope. But maybe a bit more about the vow of silence. It does not just include being silent towards others, but if you trust silence. And also when you're by yourself, for example, you don't need to get bored and read a book or use your mobile phone to check the latest crazy things that politicians are up to. Yeah? I never check what politicians are up to. It took me a few weeks after Trump's election even to realize that he was elected. Yeah, I didn't know when we were in Thailand at the time, Venerable and me, and nobody told us there, so we never checked the news. Oh, you also don't need to check the news or do that sort of thing, or contact people. You can find silence also in that way, being simple, not putting things into your mind, whether it be, okay, my example of politics is a bit extreme to make a point, but also other things. You don't need to read a book during this retreat per se. Yeah? See if you can refrain from that and just find as much time to sit in meditation, or walk meditation, or walk through Jhana Grove, or do other things mindfully. And I'll speak about that more during the retreat. But take this opportunity that you're given. Yeah? I don't know who this is, so it doesn't matter anyway, but before I came here, the retreat manager asked, I'm going to say this anyway. She asked, one person asked, during the retreat, is it okay if I play some chess silently? And I was like, the retreat has not even started, and then they're already bored. I'm not going to tell you what to do and what not to do. And even when I say don't read books, it's just a suggestion. It's all suggestions of mine, but I would say try not to. See what happens by simplifying your life and being like those Carthusian monks going into great silence. And I'm sure they also don't check the internet or so forth in their monastery. Yeah? And we can be like that as well, like Carthusian monks. Or your life in this retreat will be very similar to monk's life. Yeah? Keeping those precepts, being silent. And you can get a real taste of it, what it is like to live like that. Sometimes it takes a little bit to build up a few days. You might get bored in between. But just see if you can sit through that, or walk through it, or just make peace with the boredom. So, that is a little bit about the 8 precepts and the vow of silence. And so that is what I sort of hope from you. Yeah? I'm not going to set expectations. I was going to say what I expect from you, but no, yeah, we'll see what happens. But I think everybody will be able to abide by that. But maybe you come to this retreat with your own expectations. Yeah? This time I'm really going to do it. Finally, I got to go on this retreat. It's been so long. And now I'm going to really get deep in my meditation. I'm going to show Sunyo who the best meditator here is. Yeah, I'm going to get enlightened. Yeah, show the Buddha who is boss. Yeah, no, I'm exaggerating again, but you might have certain much more subtle expectations. Like, I'm going to find some peace. I have to find peace. This is a retreat. I have to do it. I expect that from my mind. Well, I can tell you this. From my experience, when you set expectations, it never works. Probably many of you who are more experienced meditators know that as well. Because expectations, what are they about? They're about the future. What can I get later in this retreat? Later in this meditation session? What can I get in a few minutes from now? What can I get in the next moment? It's always about the future. If you're in the present, what is there to expect? It's all here already. You don't expect the present. The present is here. Therefore, I made for you a list of all the expectations I have from you for your meditation during this retreat. This is the whole list of all the expectations. Venerables? I've shown this on another retreat before. And remember this, yeah? If your meditation is so-called, quote-unquote, bad, don't think, now Sunyo will think I'm a failure. I'm not living up to his expectations. Or maybe you do play chess on your mobile phone. And you think, I feel so bad. Sunyo said, go into great silence. Well, then remember that these were my expectations. I don't expect anything from you. I accept you as you are. Just the fact that you are here is enough for me. So I will put this up somewhere and you can be reminded of it. And it's not just my expectations, but see if you can also have those expectations of yourself. All these expectations, Venerable. Please have them of yourself. And not anymore. These are all the expectations you're allowed to have on my retreat. But if you do have more expectations, then that's fine as well. Anyway, a little bit more serious stuff about the roster. You've probably seen it on your door. The meditation retreat, I gave it a title. What was it again? Nowhere to go, nothing to do. That will be the theme of this retreat. I'll talk about that later, because I want to talk about it now, but then I'll never get to the serious stuff. You see, I've been trained by Ajahn Brahm to not prepare and just ad-lib it. So sometimes that turns into a little bit chaos, but it also makes it a little bit more alive and a bit more natural. But anyway, about the schedule. You might have seen the schedule. And there's some times that I'll be teaching meditation in the morning. We have some guided meditation in the afternoon and so forth. Have a look later if you haven't seen it yet. And then behind certain things, it says optional. Like yoga, optional. And I only did that because I didn't want to get people to be scared. They see the roster and it says yoga and then it says nothing. They say, oh no, I don't come to yoga. I'm way too stiff for that. This is going to be suffering. No. Yoga is optional. That's why I put that there, to not scare you. But on my retreat, everything is optional. Except for one thing. Lunch. Yeah. You have to come for lunch. All the rest is optional. So you can, if your meditation is getting really peaceful and you're really finding this silence within, then you might think, if I go to Sunyo's talk now, too much disturbance. If you feel like that, then please stay in your room and go deeper into that peace. I don't mind if you don't come to these talks. If you don't come to any of them, then yeah, that's also fine, but then you could have just as well stayed home. But it's all very free during this retreat. When I did my first retreat, I back up a bit. It's all very free during this retreat, so during certain times we can come together. I will give some talk, guided meditation and so forth. But you also see that on your roster a lot of time is unscheduled. There's many hours during this day that nothing is scheduled at all. Yeah? Why is that? Because I believe, and this is how I've been trained, and this is what I've experienced as well, if you are motivated to meditate, you'll do it anyway, whether there is a roster for it or not. Because in many other meditation retreats, they have it very strictly scheduled. 45 minutes sitting, 15 minutes walking, 45 minutes sitting, 15 walking. There might be advantages to that, but if you're not motivated, and then you get to sit, made to sit anyway, then it won't work regardless of whether there's a schedule or not. When your mind is not motivated to find peace inside, then either you'll just, it's this stupid meditation, or I don't want to meditate. Why does Sunyo make me sit here all day long? 45 minutes walking, 45 minutes sitting, 15 minutes walking. Yeah, is that going to be a good meditation? No. Yeah. So that's why I don't do that. Also, other reasons as well why I don't do that. Why I've also, Ajahn Brahm doesn't do it like that either. When I did my first meditation retreat many years ago as a lay person, they did have a schedule like that. 45 minutes sitting, 15 minutes walking, 15 walking. I did get a lot of peace of it. I could see the benefits of that as well. But it was also like this. When the retreat started, it's what with a monk in England, Venerable Kalyana, some of you might know. I think there's a few monks with that name, but he's pretty senior now. And he was a really, really kind monk, really, really nice. And his teachings were great. The whole retreat setting was great. All was great. But except for me, that schedule. At the start of the retreat, 45 minutes sitting. After 15 minutes, I open my eyes. There is a clock anywhere. How much longer? After 20 minutes. Is he going to ring the bell yet? After half an hour, this stupid monk, why is he not ringing the bell yet? It has been definitely 50 minutes or more, an hour maybe. Just get upset. Why is he not ringing the bell? My body starts aching, and I thought, this is not too long, I thought. At the end of the retreat, I'm sitting, peacefully meditating. Feel like 20 minutes have passed. Time for walking meditation. I'm like, this stupid monk, why is he ringing the bell already? Of course, I didn't think like that, but you can see what I'm saying. If you plan your meditation not according to a fixed schedule, but let it come naturally, I think that is much more beneficial. And that's why during this retreat there is no schedule. And I trust that you will be motivated to meditate. Because you came here anyway, yeah? So I suspect that you came to a meditation retreat to meditate. So why would I set a schedule for you to meditate? You're going to do it anyway. I hope anyway. And in this way, you can also meditate where and how is appropriate for you at the time. Some of you might like to come in here to meditate. Others might like to go to their room to meditate. And sometimes you want to sit meditation. Sometimes it feels more natural to walk meditation. Yeah? And you can all plan this for yourself. And I'll teach, of course, later, for those who are new here, a bit more about all those things of how to meditate. But I allow you the freedom to do that as you wish. Sometimes I just meditate, walking meditation is for hours, just go back and forth. Huh? Why 15 minutes? Sometimes you just feel like doing it for much longer. And so meditation is very individual, and that's why you can plan that for yourself. And you just have to feel your way, what is appropriate and what is not. Does that sound like a good idea? Yeah? Who wants the stricter schedule? 45 minutes sitting, 15 walking. Who wants that? Please raise your hand. If you want it, you can set it for yourself. Yeah? You can do that as well. But nobody seems to want that. Maybe because you also have experienced that. Yeah, it has benefits, but also downsides. But the other way around that goes the other way around as well. The way we do the BSWA retreat usually here, with this kind of freedom, also has downsides. And one of the downsides is people decide their own meditation time, and people might be moving in and out of the hall during certain times when you're meditating, and during times you might be meditating in your room. People come in and out of the house. That is the downside, because that might make a little bit of noise sometimes. What I said before, we share together here this silence. So I encourage all of you, when you go into the door, out the door here, into your room and out of your room, and when you walk around here, be like a ninja. Ninjas, I was so inspired by ninjas as a kid, because why? They could just sneak upon the king and be there out of nowhere, because they were so silent. Yeah? Nobody could hear them. And so like when you go into your room, how do you open the door? Boom! Some people will do that, and you might forget, I might forget it as well. Sorry for the person who is sharing my my cottage with me, if I bang the door like that. But I will try to remember to open the door like a ninja. Well, maybe not that slow, but you get the idea, yeah. This is a way of taking care of one another. Yeah. To me, that sounds like a great idea. Is there anything else I should say? I don't want to go too late, because it's already quite late and getting dark, and we fall asleep when it gets dark. So maybe we can close by sharing some more silent, or maybe Katrin, is there anything I should still bring up?
The only thing I was thinking is just to let people know that we go into noble silence after we finish, because we've been talking up until now.
Oh yeah, okay.
Just to make that clear to people who might
Oh yeah. All right, so after this, we go into noble silence, and I'll talk a bit more about some things on the roster tomorrow, the interviews and so forth. They only start on Sunday, so we'll talk about that later. So that's all I have to say for now. I hope you all have a good time here, and I will praise meditation a lot. You might sometimes find that it can also be a bit suffering. Yeah, it's just the way it is. Sometimes it's boring. Sometimes your mind is not like a ninja at all, but more like a clown. That's part of the course. Well, I'll talk about all of that later, but I still hope you find some benefit of this retreat, and we can share together. So let's close this talk by sharing a few more minutes of silence together. Maybe just a minute or two, just to get your mind settled and realize that from now on we go into ninja mode and the silent mode, the Cartesian monk mode. I don't think Cartesian monks would ever be ninjas, but we can be both at the same time and be nice and peaceful together. Okay, I'll ring the bell, and then after a few minutes I'll ring it again. I'll be sitting here for a bit longer, but feel free to go to your room if you need a rest or to the toilet or whatever.